All right. Welcome to the St. Louis Investor Mastermind, the May edition 2020. Thanks for jumping on here. Today's topic is a case study on a flip that we did, a rehab that we did, and we're going to dive into how we did it, all the numbers, what it looks like. But before that, let's do our roundtable discussions. Let me share my screen here. You should be able to see my PowerPoint here. We're basically just going to go around. You're going to say your name, your occupation, your biggest win of the last month, and then your biggest challenge or goal for the next month. I'll go ahead and go first. My name is David O. I'm a real estate agent and investor. Biggest win of the last month was getting a property under contract to sell, a flip that we had originally finished back in, I think, March, and we got it under contract to sell. It's going to close June 1st. We just got the buyer loan commitment, so we're basically clear to close, and should have that one closed out. So that's the biggest win. Biggest challenge or goal we have for the next month is we're taking on another big rehab here in Baldwin, and you'll see in the case study that I'll share in a little bit. That was also a big rehab in Baldwin. This one's very, very similar, that we've got under contract that we're closing on next Thursday. So that'll be the biggest challenge, is getting off to the races on that and staying on track, staying on budget, all that stuff. So if somebody else wants to go next, you're up. Travell, Steven, Yvette, who wants to go? All right.
All right. My name is Andre Cavell, but go by Dravell or Dre. I'm an electrical engineer for the Boring Company. My biggest win last month will be that my rehab is kind of kicking into high gear. I already started doing the roof. It's a duplex that's converted to a single family. The roof has already pretty much been done, and a lot of tuck pointing. I'm just waiting on my architecture. We're about to finish up the drawings or the plans to get approved by the city, but just the whole start of the rehab is already starting, so I'm happy about that. I'll probably say my biggest challenge upcoming is I have a duplex that I'm looking to put on the market soon, but I'm waiting on one of my tenants to move out because I want to go in and update the unit. And right now they closed. They supposed to be closing on the house, and now they closing date got pushed out. So it's kind of like I already had my handyman scheduled to go in and do what we gonna do. So it's kind of, and I don't want to. If I have to push him out, he's gonna take on some other jobs, and then I have to wait, some weeks probably till I get him back. So that's kind of the challenge I'm dealing with right now. So I'm kind of on edge, hoping that, they close next week. They could be gone. I could start because everybody's buying right now. So I know, like, I'll be able to get more for my duplex what I think I could get it for. So
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. It's still a good time to sell.
yeah.
It wouldn't seem that way, but yeah, from my perspective, nothing has slowed down.
Man,
Um,
nothing.
yeah. Yeah.
Over here, South City investment properties, they are buying it up. So
Oh, yeah.
what I'm trying to do is, like, like I said, if I could sell for what I think, I'll make an extra, 20,000 on top of what I already conservatively would make, and I'm gonna roll that back over to buy two. I want to buy two quadplexes. Uh, with the money that I make from that duplex alone. I own it since 2008, so a lot of equity in it. A lot of equity.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, good. All right. Steven, you want to go next?
Sure. Well, I'm Steven. I'm a computer programmer. Um, Biggest win of the last month, I guess. Actually, I got a new. So my contract programmer. In addition to my current contract, I just got a new contract yesterday, which pays quite a bit more than the other one. So that's a
Congratulations. That's awesome.
thank you. It's also it looks to be really, really easy work, which is nice. Almost like just like a side hobby in the evening, which will pay more than my main contract.
Oh, that's great.
Um, I also just continue doing more reading and research on real estate stuff. I went to my local credit union to find out some information about getting a pre-approval letter, but still kind of plugging along at that. Biggest challenge is maybe almost just that I don't want to say overwhelmed as much as I'm realizing there's. I look at, I guess, like indecision paralysis. I've heard some people say I'll be seeing all these different houses on the market and never quite seems to be right, or I question whether I'm analyzing it well enough to make a decision on any of
Mhm.
them, especially just with the question of, well, I've got 30 photos here. What's not in the photos, but I can't actually go look in person because of things shut down. And
Yeah.
combined with what you were just talking about, knowing that it's a seller's market right now, so the prices aren't, it's going to be a lot harder to find a deal, which doesn't immediately get snapped up.
Yeah, that's interesting you say that. Like the biggest thing I find with new investors is you you don't have a criteria yet, so you're not able to, like if I was to send you an awesome deal, which I've had this happen before. I've had people call me up and say, "Dave, I'm ready to invest in real estate. Send me a deal when you get a deal." And I have this awesome deal, and it's got to be bought that day because it's going to sell to somebody else. And I send it to them, and then all of a sudden they're shy about moving forward. They don't. It's because they don't have their criteria. They don't know what a good deal is to them yet. And that's part of what you kind of have to discover is you analyze enough properties and you find that this is where this is a deal to you. This is comfortable in this zip code, in this price range, in this condition. So all those things will come into play when you're trying to decide, what that first property or what, the properties that you want to hold on to are going to be.
I think from my perspective, if I were to be given someone handing me something to say, "Hey, this is a good deal," I would probably similarly have a lot of questions. But I think, I don't know because I've not been in the situation, but I think I would try to, rather than running away, say, "Okay, well, here's all my concerns and hesitations," and present them and
Yeah.
have them resolved so I can understand it, rather than running away from it.
Right. Cool. Well, yeah. Yeah, that's definitely a challenge, and I'd be happy to help work with you on that offline if you want to reach out.
Well, thank you.
Um, yeah, that's something that I work with a lot of people on, is just trying to define your criteria for yourself and then looking out there in the market and just analyzing properties and getting comfortable with, what's, what's going to be a home run for you, because there's a lot of different ways to make money investing in real estate, and it's a little bit different for, each one of us. All right. Yvette or Shannon, are you guys able to talk?
Yeah, this is Yvette. I'll go next. Um, so my name is Yvette Stanton, and I am an administrative assistant for the School of Arts and Sciences at Washington University. I am brand spanking new to real estate investment, so I don't have a big win to speak of at this moment. I guess I could say my biggest win of the last month was that I wasn't furloughed.
There you go. That's a win.
I'm working. I'm working from home, but I was lucky enough to not be furloughed
Yeah.
this past month. Um,
Just a side note, do they know when the
I'm.
school's going to open back up there?
They really have no idea at this point. They hope to have something by June,
Yeah.
but it's week by week because things change so much.
Right.
So yeah, it's kind of up in the air. But if they don't have any students on campus in the fall, then it's going to be really bad for the university.
Sure.
So with that being said, this whole it just made me I couldn't just rely on an employer-based income.
Mhm.
I needed to get into something stable like real estate investment, and I wanted to use wholesaling as a vehicle to get in the door. So I'm just here to learn from people who are already investing and meet new people who are local in the area and investing, and not just relying on people I can find online or whatever. So
Sure. Awesome. Well, glad to have you here.
thank you.
All right. And then Shannon, are you able to talk?
Hi, I'm here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you. I am, I guess my profession now is I'm a real estate investor, right? You start telling everybody that.
Awesome.
But essentially,
Congratulations.
thank you. A year ago, I set out on a path to have one flip completed, and I'm about to finish that. But during that year, I call it my master's degree, where you could go back to school and spend a lot of money, or you can invest in real estate and your own personal education. So I figured I'd break even on this flip or make money, or at least be in less debt than a master's. So I'm on that path, and the end of June will be the year that I bought the house. And essentially, I'm trying to put my systems in place so that I can rinse and repeat. And so that to me is a big win over the last month, is understanding that it's crunch time. Over the next month, my challenge is that, to stay on task and to follow the systems, because the systems work. So I'm, that's where I'm at.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks for Shannon. All right. Well, let me get into the quick tip for tonight, and then we'll just open it up for Q&A networking. I got to switch PowerPoints here. All right. Let me know when you guys can see my screen.
I can see it.
Should say Hoarder House Fix and Flip. Okay, cool. All right, so this is a presentation on a hoarder house that I bought and flipped last year. We're gonna go through the whole process of how I acquired it, how I rehabbed it, and how we sold it, and what all the numbers look like. So hopefully this will take around 15 minutes to go through. How did we get the lead? So every investment deal that you get starts with a lead, and that's just somebody that raises their hand and might be interested in selling their property. So I had a website out there. I probably built my website in 2018. It's transformstlouis.com. We buy houses. Never really marketed the website, never did any Google ads, nothing like that. And last year, I got my first website lead. Somebody went on the website, put in their address, put in their phone number, and said that they were wanting to get an offer to sell their house. And so I was so excited, called them back the next day, talked to them on the phone, asked them about the house. And we have some pre-screening questions that we like to ask, tell me more about the house. So I got him talking about the house. He mentioned that the home was, it was a nice home in a nice neighborhood. It had update. I remember specifically, he said there was updated countertops and updated kitchens and bathrooms and all this stuff that was nice about the home. So me being an investor and an agent, I kind of bring two different hats with me depending on the type of property that I'm going to. So based on what he told me on the phone, I brought my listing contract and I brought my realtor packet with me to the house. I was thinking this is a nice home in Baldwin. Prices in this area were, $300,000 to $400,000. I thought I was going to end up getting a listing out of this deal. Well, he opened the door to the house, and I knew that this was not that type of property. So this is what the second picture here. Hold on. Went too fast. Still going too fast. Hold on a second. All right. So this is the house. You guys should see the pictures now. So this is on the far left. This is me walking up to the house.
I still
Not,
see the title screen.
you still see the what?
The title screen.
Yeah, the title screen, you can still see the first PowerPoint slide.
Oh, all right.
I think if you're displaying the presentation,
Oh, okay.
not being
I
picked
see what.
up by.
Oh, so do you see all the slides on the left?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on a second. All right, here we go. You should see the pictures now.
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, so yeah, so this is the house as I was walking up. On the left, that's me walking up the house. Didn't really think much of it, but that middle photo, that's when he opened the front door to greet me, and so that's when I knew that this was not going to be a listing. This was an investment buy for sure, because this house was in really bad shape. It it obviously had some sort of hoarding problem. Every single room was like piled like this. And actually, in this third picture here, I don't know if you can see my cursor, but there's actually a person sitting on this couch. It took me a while to find this person.
The image is broken again. Actually, it's now zoomed in very closely on slideshow, resume slideshow.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
yeah.
What the heck?
Yeah.
All right, well, thanks for pointing that out. Let me stop.
Oh,
my
there we go. Now we're
sharing.
back. Oh,
Let me restart this. Not-
okay. We can see it again.
All right, it should be back. Okay, can you see the picture of the front of the house on the left?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Yeah,
Now
so this is what I walked into when he opened the front door in the middle, and then this was like the living room area. There's actually a person sitting on the couch here on the left in this right hand picture.
Is that an arm on the left with a purple sleeve?
Yeah, that is. So like you couldn't even see the people that were sitting in
Wow.
this house. It was that bad. Here's some other pictures to give you an idea of what this thing looked like. This was the kitchen here on the left. There's just like heaps of garbage everywhere. It smelled. They had cats in the house, so there was cat pee and cat poop all over the house. This was the bathroom. You could tell that.
It's not changing.
Yeah.
We're still on slide 3.
Still on slide 3?
Yeah.
Oh, it says my screen sharing is paused for some reason. Not sure why it's not working.
Now we're on 4.
Yeah. Now we're on.
Okay. All right.
Well,
Here's
at least the bathroom isn't piled high.
Wow.
Yeah. This was. I might have another picture of another bathroom that's worse, but yeah, this was. It wasn't piled high. There was pots and pans in the bathtub though. This was the master bedroom here on the right. Obviously, nobody really slept in there. Let's go to the next slide. Let's see what else we got here. Yeah, so this was on the left. This was one of the other bedrooms, just piled literally to the ceiling with junk. In every single room, there was like this little grabber arm that they would use to like grab things on the other side of the house. Really crazy. Let's see here. This was the basement here in the middle. That was piled high. This was the stairs going down. It was just nasty. Had kitty litter all over it. Yeah, so basically I walked into this thing and it was pretty rough. I was trying to come up with an offer to buy the house, eventually settled on $157,000. So we bought this March 1st, 2019. The seller owned the house free and clear. And so what they were trying to get, escape this hoarding lifestyle that they had kind of got caught up in And what they're wanting to do was sell the house. It was really they didn't have any cash in the bank, but they had equity in the house because they owned it free and clear. They wanted to sell the house, and then they wanted to buy an RV and a truck to pull the RV, and then basically move to Florida and kind of travel along the coast and kind of retire that way. So in order for them to do that, I had to allow them to possess the house after closing. So we wrote up an agreement that said that they would be allowed to possess the home for 1 week after we close. That would give them time to get the money from the title company, go shopping to buy the truck, go shopping to buy the RV that they had picked out, get all that stuff, load up what they needed, and head south for their retirement. So that we worked all that out. So that's kind of what you want to do as an investor, is you really want to tailor your offer to their situation. And so part of the reason why I'm able to buy this house at a discount is because I'm paying cash. I'm allowing them to stay in the house after I bought it, which isn't normal in a normal type of sale. I'm buying the house in the condition that it's in. Like when we took possession of the house, that's what it looked like with all that stuff in it. Which, by the way, took 8 dumpsters to empty the house. Which
So those photos were after they moved out, after the week?
Yeah, that was after. Well, I think some of them are from before, like the one where she's in there. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it looked exactly the same because you got to think they had a truck and an RV.
Mm.
They weren't fitting much into that, and they didn't get rid of anything. So, yeah, it was crazy. So yeah, 157 was a purchase price, and then we started on the rehab. Our budget for the rehab when we bought the house was $130,000. This at the time was the biggest rehab I had ever done. I think I had done $100,000 rehab shortly before this one. So like 130 was kind of setting a new bar for me. When it was all said and done, there's always surprises when you go into a rehab budget. I usually always plan for like a 10% padding. So on a $130,000 rehab, I should have probably planned for like $13,000 to $15,000 cushion there. When it was all said and done, actually we went about $20,000 over the rehab budget. But we still made money on this deal. We'll show you that at the end here. But this is what it looked like when the front of the house was finished. We did some paint, we did some siding, we did some stonework around the pillars here. We did a new garage door. We did a new driveway, new sidewalks, new patio around back, brand new roof. We did ripped out everything in the front yard, completely reseeded it, and graded it. Basically refreshed the entire look of the curb appeal on this home. And then moving inside, this picture before and after just blows me away still today. So this picture was taken right when you open the front door. It's the same exact location. In the first picture, there's walls going down both sides, kind of closing the house off. What we did was we opened up the floor plan so that you walk into this big open kitchen with a center island, a living room, and then that back room is kind of like a 4 seasons room, 3 seasons room. It's got a bunch of glass around it. So that's a transformation we're able to do. Kind of why it took $150,000 to really tear this thing down to the studs and rebuild it. Not your typical cosmetic rehab, but that's what we did on the inside there on the first floor. And then moving on to some other pictures. This is from the back of that first floor, looking back across. I think literally the only thing we kept in the house was like the wood paneling on the ceiling. It was like the only thing that really wasn't touched. Everything else was either painted or replaced. Flooring, trim, drywall, fixtures, fans, lights, plumbing, electrical, everything was done. So that's that room. We'll take you kind of look at the kitchen again. So this is the before and after on the kitchen, going from this hoarder style kitchen to kind of opening it up. We put a big window there to open up the kitchen to the other room. We've got the hanging lights there over the big center island with some bar stools. The range with the hood on it. That was the kitchen. Let's see, we got some more pictures here. This was the master bedroom. Didn't do a whole lot here, but cleaned it out. New carpet, paint, trim, ceiling fans. We staged it. We put a barn door on the master bathroom, kind of save some space there, be able to fit a bigger bed in if they wanted to. And then this is the master bathroom. We actually, there was four bedrooms upstairs in this house. This is a ranch house with a finished basement. We took away one of the bedrooms to expand the master bathroom. So normally I think this master bathroom ended like right after this double sink. So we basically took away a whole bedroom upstairs to put in this freestanding tub and then this dual shower that's massive. It's got like a full window on the side of it. It was a really, really nice bathroom when it was all said and done. How we made up for that is we put a bedroom in the basement, which I think I have a picture of here later. So we were still able to call it a 4-bedroom house with taking away the 4th bedroom upstairs. This was the basement that we finished, put in can lighting, new flooring. We put like a kind of a stone wall, accent wall on one of the walls in the basement, kind of made it pop a little bit. There was a bar area already down here. It's kind of hidden a little bit. We put some some extra granite that we had from the kitchen down here and kind of made it nice little living area. This is the backyard. So the backyard was, it was kind of junked up as well. There was just a lot of deferred maintenance back here. Completely tore everything out. There was like an old broken hot tub. There was fencing. There was old grills, coolers, all kinds of stuff. Kind of tore it all out. Poured a new patio back here. Took out some trees, reseeded and graded everything in the backyard as well. And then we'll get to the fun part here, all the final numbers.
For that
So
last image of the back of the house, it looks like in the before photo, there was an opening to the left of those windows, which is not there in the new.
yeah. So there was like a lot of doors on this sunroom actually. I think there was like a sliding glass door here, and then there was a door on either side of it too. So we closed up. Yeah, you're right. We closed up this sliding glass door just because it wasn't necessary. And I think we actually put a fireplace, like an electric fireplace. Let me see if I got a picture of it.
Sorry to throw you off.
No, you're fine. Yeah, I don't have a picture of it. We did do, yeah, it's kind of hard to see. Yeah, so where that sliding glass door was, if you can see back here, we did an electric like built-in fireplace there. So that actually made a pretty nice accent on that wall.
David, this is beautiful.
Yeah, you did a very nice job with this.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, and luckily the numbers worked out. So I'll go over the numbers here. It wouldn't be such a fun story to tell if it was not a profitable deal. All right, so all right. So this one, we bought this on, I think it was March 9th, if I remember correctly, the first week of March last year for 157. This rehab took almost a little over 6 months, actually. So it was one of the biggest rehabs I've ever done. Usually I want a rehab to be completed in about 3 months. So this one being the first big one took about double that time. There was some time in there where like the contractors were like working on other jobs too, which was kind of frustrating. I think there was like a month or two where there was just like nothing getting done at the house, and it was like trying to track down, where are these guys? Why aren't they working on my house anymore? And they picked up some other jobs. So long story short, that stuff happens when you're an investor. But we got it finally finished and listed for sale on 9/11/19 for $400,000. Now, at the time, the highest comp in the neighborhood was $400,000, so we were really pushing it. But we made it to where there was no showings until the open house, and that really created like a buzz, because it was listed for almost a full week before this open house. And so when the open house came, um, I went to it, and there was tons of people there. There was probably like 60 people that came through this 2-hour open house. It was like a block party. Cars were lined up. We got multiple offers, and kind of pushed it, asking for the best and final from people. And we got a selling price. A month later, we closed for 427. So we got 27 over asking price, which was really nice. So all in all, with 157,000 purchase price, $150,000 rehab, and then $16,000 in holding costs for 7 months or so of holding from March to October, and then $20,000 in selling costs. This is like your real estate commissions, title work, fees like that. After all said and done, it was an $84,000 profit. So it's a very good deal. Well worth all the work and time put into it. Any questions you guys have on this fix and flip?
Yeah, Dave. So you said you at first you had it was 130 as far as you was estimating on the
Yeah.
rehab, and then it was 20, but then it went to 150. So what was like the gotcha, the 20,000 gotcha?
Yeah, it wasn't just one thing. There was like a bunch of things. The biggest thing was actually it came up during the inspections. So after we got the house under contract to sell, of course, the buyer gets a bunch of inspections on the property. Well, this inspector, it happened to have been like raining for a couple of days when the inspector was going to see the house. And there's like a creek behind this house, and there's kind of a downgrade. You can't see it from here, a downward grade that runs to the house. And there was basically like a little stream of water had like kind of formed, and it was like running right across the backyard here. And so this picture was taken like right after we got it ready to list. And within a couple of, I guess, this grass was like growing pretty crazy within a couple of weeks. And basically what happened was the buyer came back and said, you need to regrade the entire backyard so that this water does not run through the middle of the backyard. And we tried to tell them that, hey, it's just because it hasn't been seeded yet. Once the grass takes roots, like none of this is going to matter. Well, they made a huge deal out of it. And I think we ended up spending like, I want to say like $5,000 to $8,000. Basically had to bring in several dump trucks of new dirt, new sod, and we had to basically regrade the entire backyard with a bulldozer, to make sure that there's no water that was coming off of this creek behind the house and running through the yard. So that's probably the biggest thing that came up. Other than that, there's just probably the time. So, it took 7 months to go from buying to selling. That was probably something that I probably had more on like a 3 or 4 month timeline. So that was another factor. So the another thing that came up, like right after we listed it. So the HVAC in the house worked, and so this is one of those questions that always comes up. If it's a rental for me and the HVAC works, I'm never replacing it. But on a flip, sometimes you just want to put in new HVAC because somebody's going to come in and say, oh, this is a 20-year-old heater, 20-year-old AC. Like that's just another expense that they think of that's going to come up. So this house, same situation, except I thought we would keep them. And then we decided like right before we listed just to go ahead and replace them. And that's probably like a $3,500 expense there that came up. But yeah.
It paid off though.
Yeah, everything worked out well. So we were very happy how it turned out.
Now, my next question, I guess, where did you get the ideas of the design, so to say? The house look came out immaculate, but like going into it, obviously you've done a lot of flips or whatever, but for this particular, how did you, the design and, all that, how did that come about?
Yeah, so that was something I had a partner on this deal and we talked a lot about how we were going to do it. And I kind of leaned on him a lot for the materials that he picked out to put in the house. I know for the light fixtures and stuff, he likes to get his stuff on Amazon because basically everybody uses the Home Depot, the Lowe's fixtures in a house. But like when he picks it out from Amazon or like some custom site online, it kind of makes the house unique. So like when we went around this house, like every single fixture was something that he picked out and kind of differentiates it from other flips that people are seeing. One thing that we argued about was one, taking out that bedroom upstairs. So that was something that like I didn't think was going to pay off. But when I saw how this bathroom turned out at the end, I was like, holy cow, this is amazing. Like, people don't really need a fourth bedroom upstairs, especially if we put that bedroom in the basement. And they get this huge, nice, kick-ass bathroom. That was one thing.
That bathroom is actually my dream bathroom.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
exact
mine too.
Design.
I wish I had one like that. Yeah. Another thing design-wise that we talked a lot about was we had to move the staircase, and I don't have a great picture of it here. But actually the stairs to the basement was basically right in front of this island here. So there was actually going to be no way to really open up this whole area when you walked in unless we moved the stairs back into this corner here and facing the other direction. And so my partner Kyle was a big proponent on doing that. And I was like, well, whoa. Like, we're going to start moving stairs. Like, we have this huge rehab already. Does that really make sense? And he's like, you just got to trust me on this. And I kind of trusted him on it. And when it turns out like this, when you open the door, it made it finally made sense to me why he wanted to do that. But that was something I was kind of hesitant to do. I didn't think the value would be there, but at this price point, a $400,000 house, it makes it worth it to go the extra mile to make it, really nice. What else you guys got?
I have a few questions.
Yeah.
On moving the basement or moving the bedroom to the basement, are there any code restrictions on having a bedroom in a basement, like for fire issues and stuff?
Yeah, so a bedroom in the basement, in order to be called a true bedroom, it has to have a closet and egress to the outside. What egress means is that if in case of a fire, someone can escape from the bedroom and go directly outside. So that can either be a door that goes outside, or it can be a window that's big enough and low enough to the ground for them to get out of. Um, like basically, it's basically checking with the local municipality on the dimensions of the window to make sure that it meets the egress requirement. But I think it's like something like 30 something inches off the ground, and then like, I don't know, like 3 or 4 feet in diameter of an opening or something like that.
Also, I was wondering, you mentioned at the beginning that there were cats. How
Yeah.
bad was the cat damage, and what did you do? Like, if the floors are destroyed, besides just replacing the carpet, if it, I don't know, there is an odor from it, what did you do for fixing cat damage?
Yeah. So luckily in this house, like nothing was saved. So like every piece of flooring was ripped up. Every wall and ceiling was painted. So like there was nothing left to have the cat odor or smell on it. So that was good. But yeah, if you're trying to do like a cosmetic or a budget rehab and there's been a bunch of cats in the house, you might have some challenges getting rid of that smell. That's for sure.
That's what I was wondering, because for a project of this size, there's enough room in the budget for maybe doing that, but for a lower, like towards $100,000, $150,000 house, the amount of money that would go into that might make it impossible to
Yeah.
do and still make a profit.
Right. Yeah, and there's other ways to get rid of the smell. I know one of the things is like using I think they call it an ionizer. It's like a machine that a company can bring in and put in the house, and it literally filters all the air and all the smell out of the house. So that's another way, another option that you could do if you weren't going to be doing a full gut rehab.
Was that the driving force behind you guys going in and gutting everything? Of course, the area you bought in is really high end, so of course you pretty sure already knew like we definitely got room for cushion. But you like going in the cosmetic or whatever. So was was that once you guys got all that debris out and just looking at it, was that one of the big driving forces to say let's just gut everything and start fresh with that kitty smell?
Yeah, I mean there was like no really question about whether we were going to do a gut rehab or not, just because of the condition of the home, and like there was nothing going to be budget about it. It was just in really bad shape. It was unsafe. Actually, one of my general contractor got like some kind of respiratory infection because he was in the house without a respirator for too long. There was just all kinds of nasty stuff in there that it needed to be totally dumped out. And we actually called in some. So one of the things I told the sellers when I bought the house is that we're going to try to donate anything we can out of the house. And little did I know that when the donation companies showed up to pick up stuff, they opened the door and they said, "We're not taking anything out of this house. This is unsanitary." And I was like, "Yeah, you're probably right."
Wow.
So yeah.
That was going to be another question I had. Actually, you mentioned having to clear it out in dumpsters. So where's the trade-off? Because I think, putting aside the unsanitary aspect, which would probably put me off to going through it, I think if I saw like all that stuff, I'd want to think like, oh, I wonder if there's something in here that's worth not throwing out.
Yeah, and we took a day to kind of put on our hazmat suits and dig through it ourselves, and there wasn't much in there. I think I got a couple of power tools out of there, but that there wasn't much left. That's for sure. Just a lot of junk and a lot of trash, basically.
David, how much of the rehab do you do yourself? Any?
As far as swinging a hammer, none. So I hire contractors to do everything. On a project this big, I have a general contractor that's running the day-to-day. He's there every day. And then I'm kind of the manager of the general contractor. So I'm probably coming by, maybe once or twice a week to check on things, see if they need anything, order them some pizzas, bring them some lunch, whatever I can do to, help out.
Now, let me ask you, Dave, with the numbers, since you had a partner, was you just, pretty much I was going 50-50. You did acquisition and did he cover full rehab? Was that like the
Yeah, so we just did 50-50 on everything. So we both put up the same amount of money. We both kind of did the same amount of work. Um, so I brought him, so I got this property under contract actually. I didn't tell you guys that when I was first going through this. I got it under contract, I think for in the 190s. But I had an inspection period on it. And I just didn't know, I didn't know how bad it was because I was in the house just kind of building rapport with the sellers really. I wasn't really trying to figure out, okay, well, what's all wrong with this house right now? Because there's a lot of stuff wrong with it. So I was just doing some simple numbers, trying to figure out how much, I thought maybe it was going to be like 100,000 to rehab it at this point. So I had an inspection period on the house, had it under contract for 190 something. And then that's when I decided to call Kyle, who I partner with on this deal. He's another investor that I've done deals with him before. He wholesales to me. He does rehabs. And I just felt like if I had somebody else with me on this huge rehab, on this hoarder house, it's going to basically cut down my risk. Yeah, I might be giving away half the profits, but I'm also reducing a massive amount of risk that I'm taking on by taking this on by myself. So brought him in during the inspection period. We get all the inspections done on the house. I find out that things are way worse than I originally thought. And that's when we kind of came up with this $130,000 budget. And what that meant was we got to get the price down by like 30 or more $1,000 to make this deal work for us. So that's, and we kind of went back into the house. We like had this conversation on this driveway. I remember this so clearly. And he's like, there's no way we can buy this house for $190,000. And I was like, you're right. Like it needs way more than I thought it needed. And he's like, well, we got to go back inside and renegotiate it or walk away. And I was like, okay, I really didn't want to do this. And so we went back inside and like, we literally played good cop and bad cop, and he was the bad cop. And I said, like, I really want to buy this house, but you had all the inspection. We found out all these other problems. And Kyle, my partner, was just like, we can't do it for the price. We need to be here. And, just left it at that. And they said, well, how's that so? And, he kind of went back and forth with them. And finally they worked out to 157, and we got the deal signed and done right there. It was a huge price drop, but it was warranted because we were going to take on a massive amount of risk with this rehab. And, in the end, it worked out well. We got more than we asked for it, which made the numbers look a lot better. But at the time it was, it looked like we were going to lose money if we were going to buy it for the price that I originally had it for.
Do you follow any kind of, do you have your own Excel sheets or any kind of online software to help you work out the rehab costs? So when you're going through a property, it's the square footage, this is what I expect. And so how did you alter that from your first walkthrough to your second in order to negotiate that cost down?
Yeah, great question. Actually, the last month we went over my rehab estimator. So it's basically this Excel spreadsheet. It's got over like 200 line items on it. Basically, everything that you could do to a house is on this spreadsheet. And the way I do it is I take a bunch of pictures when I'm there at the house the first time. And then I go back home, I pull up the spreadsheet, I pull up the pictures, and I go room by room and fill out the spreadsheet. Does it need this? Does it need this? Does it need this? And I come up with the final numbers. Now, on a house like this, because there's so much stuff, that made it really hard for me to see past what actually needed to be done in this house. When you literally can't see a square inch of the floor in some of these rooms. Um, so when I went in this house for the first time, it's literally me walking down the little pathway and, peering into a room and saying, okay, versus that's and part of the reason why I insisted on having an inspection period when I put it under contract the first time was I need to see more of the house. I need to see what's actually going on. And so I paid my inspectors to come in the house and actually get to all the places that need to be looked at and tested. And, when they're running faucets and uh, flushing toilets and checking outlets, then we're actually finding out, okay, like there's way more plumbing issues than you originally thought there was going to be. There's way more electrical issues. They get up on the roof. And I know one of the things the seller told me when I was there was that the roof was 3 years old. Well, when my inspector got up on the roof, he said, yeah, there's like a third of the roof that is 3 years old. And then there's like another third of the roof that's 15 years old. And then there's
That's
another
classic.
third of the roof that was like 20 years old. And he's like, yeah, basically you need to replace the whole roof because they did it wrong. I was like, okay. So you find out things like that when you're looking at it a little bit closer, and definitely want to.
Remember the storm? Yeah. One more question.
Yeah.
When you found when the okay, so this was like a unicorn in a lot of ways, where this house comes through on a website. It's your first one. The website's been up for a year. Is that right?
Yeah.
And then so you get this, and the deal is paid for the website. It's all for many years to come. So that's cool.
Sure.
But I'm curious, did other folks did these sellers call anybody else? And so were you in competition with others at the same time, or was it kind of like one last ditch effort because nobody else wanted it?
Yeah. So I was trying to figure that out when I was at the first appointment with him. And it sounded like he made 3 phone calls. So I was one of the 3 people. And well, not 3 phone calls, but 3 like website inquiries. And so so this was like, I think he submitted something on my website like 10 o'clock at night. The next morning I was calling him, and then I was at his house that afternoon to see the house. And that night I was at home crunching my numbers, putting together my offer. And then the next day I was on the phone, hey, when can I come over and show you this contract? And I don't want to, when you're in a situation like this where there's competition, you don't want to just email somebody your contract, because then they have your number, what you're going to pay for the house, and then they can go tell the next guy and the next guy how much, what their offer is. And it's a really easy way to lose the deal. So I want to go meet him and present him with the contract and give him a chance to accept it or reject it. So that second day, I got an appointment with him to come back. And when I went back there, I realized that nobody else had showed up at the house yet. So I was the first one with the offer. Gave him the offer and said, is this what you're looking for? And I think he said something like, oh, I was ready to do it for 200, but this is 190, close enough. Let's get it done. And so I had it signed right there. So that's one of the things that I've learned from experience that kind of helped me get that deal under contract. But yeah, it was a cold lead. And so you never want to give them too much time to shop around, and you want to jump on it right away.
How do you typically get your leads?
Most of mine are from networking. So just from talking to other investors, talking to wholesalers, talking to other agents, friends and family. everybody, there's so many people that you probably already know that knows somebody that needs to sell a house. And there's way more, and there's tons of houses out here like this, probably not this bad, but there's tons of houses out here that as people are getting older, they've lived in a house for 10, 20 years, haven't done any updates to it, don't really have the money or the means to update it and sell it on the market. They just want to sell it for cash to an investor who's going to flip it, and they're okay with them making money on it. So most of everything, I don't do very much paid marketing at all. It's all been networking, and can consistently get probably half a dozen deals a year, if not more than that, just by talking to people and tell them what you do and tell them that you're looking for houses to buy.
It since then, have you done anything? Well, you still been like networking, but with your website specifically, have you done anything with that? Like, have you got more leads through that just by just floating out there, or you just?
Yeah, I haven't gotten any leads to the website. I didn't build my website to be a lead magnet per se. I mainly just built it for credibility, because what happens is when you meet somebody for the first time, the first thing they're going to do is go Google your company or your name and see what comes up. So the only reason I really built the website was to be, so when I gave somebody my business card and left them with an offer or something, and they did their research on me, that they would find out that, oh, I have a nice professional website. I'm a real company that's out there. So that's really the only reason I had the website. And it was just kind of funny that they found it, and I actually got a deal from somebody that submitted something on it, because I hadn't paid for any advertisements or anything like that through there.
So David, you don't use any kind of software. It's all networking. Any kind of, what do they call that? Blacklist or REO or any kind of those, pay monthly sites. It's all, you get enough from just networking. But I guess that was a question, but also as a realtor, do you find that that helps you in finding these properties and then rehabbing them so that when you walk into a place, you can see everything? How much does it help you, and does it matter if someone has their real estate license?
Yeah, so I'd say the biggest advantage for being a realtor and an investor is that you you can, if somebody wants to sell a house, you have a way to help them and make money no matter what path they choose. So like a house like this, I went to it thinking that it was going to be nice enough to where he wouldn't want to sell it for a discount, wouldn't want to sell it to an investor. So in that situation, I can list the house and make a commission on it, and I don't have to pass on that deal. So that's probably the biggest advantage, is that I can show people, hey, this is how much you can sell the house for if it's nice enough to list it on the market. And then this is how much you can sell it for and not have to do any hassle, not have to show it, not have to fix anything, sell it to me for cash as an investor. So kind of giving those people those two options is really valuable and kind of builds trust with people, because I'm not, trying to lowball them on their house. Here's the way you get the most money for your house, but you also have to do these things to the house. So that's kind of the main thing. And then just from having experience as an agent, having enough listings to see, okay, this is what people want to buy a house. Like, they don't want to have to do work. A good example of this is we did like a really budget rehab in Florissant earlier this year. And it was like one of those things where I saw the condition of the house and I thought it was going to be nice enough just to do paint and carpet. Like, literally, that's all we did to the house. Just put paint and carpet in the house and put it back up on the market. Didn't update the bathrooms or the kitchens. Yeah, they were 20 years old, but they were clean and well taken care of. But like, buyers came into the house and they didn't want to buy it because it wasn't updated. It wasn't fresh, and those are
It
things
didn't
that
look like HGTV.
right,
Yeah.
exactly. And the buyers will pay the big bucks to get this house here on the right. Yeah, it blows my mind every time, because when I went and bought my personal residences, I'm looking for the value adds. I want to buy the house at a discount so I can
Me
update
too.
the house
Yeah.
on my
Yeah.
own.
Me too.
But the average buyer, they just want to be able to move into the perfect house, and they'll pay the premium price to do that.
I love it. I love it. So let me ask you, Dave. Also, with I was just reading a report on CNBC. They said now mortgage applications are spiking up. Do you? Because April time frame is when we see the spike of like properties going up for sale in St. Louis region.
Mhm.
But of course, took a dip. Do you think as we go into June that we'll see that spike with so-called economy opening back up and interest rates still low?
Yeah, I mean, so the seasonal cycle that happens every spring. Um, I think I say, like, once the fall hits, it just kind of declines until like February or March. So that happens every year. I don't think this year will be any different, because we haven't really seen much slowdown at all. Which I would have thought would have thought like real estate would be dead right now. But it's not. It's like as active as it's been all year. I think the only thing we see a little bit less of is like the number of showings, just because of people not wanting to get out as much to see 10 houses on a weekend. They'll probably only see like the top 3 that they have on their list, as opposed to everything that's out there. But yeah, and then the rates are so low right now that it's hard to see it slowing down unless, one, the rates go up, or two, unemployment continues to go up. So I think eventually, if unemployment continues to go up and then remains up, then we're going to see real estate getting hit, because people can't buy houses if they don't have jobs.
Right, right. Which I definitely hope not the case, especially with me starting this rehab. And
Yeah.
like I've been seeing it when I priced out my ARV on this property, the highest comp was like 240. And now I just got some new comps that's underpinning, one at 290, one at 250. So I'm like, holy shoot.
Nice.
I gotta get rolling and before this thing cools down, because now I'm like, whoa, like I'm at 240 now. I'm like minimum 250 to 290 now. So yeah, I hope. I'm glad I guess I'm kind of glad in a way that things are open back up, hopefully in a safe manner, to keep that, because I don't think interest rates are going to jump up anytime soon. I just hope that we keep this momentum into the early fall.
Yeah, I think it looks good. It's hard to predict, but yeah, they're one of the reasons we're closing on a big rehab next week, is because we're confident that the market's going to be there in 3 to 6 months. Yeah.
David, or anyone else who does flips, what do you look for specifically in a good deal?
Profit.
I was the same thing I was thinking about.
aside from the obvious, but like, is it a certain area? Is it 3-2? Does it have to, you know what I'm saying? Are there certain things that turn you off?
Not really. I guess that as far as turning me off, like, the location can be a factor. I don't like buying houses that are like on a busy road or near a highway. Those are just like, it's so unpredictable how much that affects the value. So your ARV can get skewed that way. That's probably the only turnoff that I really have. But I'll flip a house that has an ARV of 70. I'll flip one that has an ARV of 400. just depends on, how much money is in the deal. And I know a lot of things online will say, 30% of ARV is your profit margin. That doesn't exist in this market. So this $400,000 one we made 84 on. If you did that formula, we should have made 120, which that's so unrealistic in this market. 80s way above average, I would say. So.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So David, anyone here that has done more than one flip, what do you aim for in a profit margin? Are you going for volume over, I mean, you could stop at the one house if you were like, I'm going to do $80,000 this year, and so you get quality over quantity kind of thing.
Yeah. So I think every deal is a little bit different. So like this deal, because it took so much effort and so much, we had to put 150,000 into it and completely gut it. Like we probably needed to make like at least 60,000, which if we would have sold it for list price, we would have made 60. So you were kind of right there on the target. But like, for instance, the house that I bought earlier this year that only needed paint and carpet, because it only needs paint and carpet, I'm willing to make a profit of $20,000 on that house. And actually, because the buyers did not really like the paint and carpet option, I'm probably going to make more like 5 to 10 on that house. But that's the kind of, it just depends on the situation. How much work does it need? Will oftentimes, and what price point is it at, will oftentimes tell you, do you need to make a huge profit margin or can you make a smaller profit margin?
Yeah, and I think for me, like where I'm looking at it is like I want to do enough flips to replace my yearly salary at Boeing, but I don't want to be like doing so much flips, in a sense or whatever. So I'm like, what's the minimum flips that I want to do a year? Minimum, of course, there's no limit to max, because if there's a deal, there's a deal. But minimum, I said three flips, averaging about 40,000 in profit each flip to make it worthwhile. I primarily invest in the city, so like you're dealing with brick buildings, 100-year-old, like that's a headache in itself. So it's like it got to be enough for whatever to deal with that, because 9 times out of 10 you're gonna break the concrete up to replace the sewer laterals. It's still, then you got masonry work, which is can cost, so that's kind of how I look at it, because I own a lot of buying. I started out buying whole, and now into the rehab, but like I'm looking at like, okay, my rental portfolio will just maintain a big cash flow in a sense, but like I want my flips to be replacing my salary. So about 40, 30 to 40,000, but really I want to be at that 40,000 mark.
Thank you. This has really turned into more of a, ask me anything kind of session, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, that's what we want to have happen. So thanks for asking the questions. All right. I got time for maybe one or two more. Anybody have anything else?
How would you have looked at this differently or handled this differently if your plan had been to buy it to rent it rather than flip it?
Good point. So because of this particular area, the numbers did not make sense to rent it out. I say that because I think to rent it out, it would have maybe been like 1,900 a month or 2,000 a month in rent that I'd be expecting back. And I was going to have to, even to make it rent ready, this thing needed probably 80 grand, 70, 80 grand, which just wouldn't make sense from a cash flow perspective. It just wouldn't make enough money to rent out. Now that could have been like a fallback plan, like in an emergency where we couldn't sell. let's rent it out to kind of save our butts. But that definitely wasn't going to be like one of the primary strategies. I think another exit option would have been to wholesale it. So I think I probably could have cleaned it out and probably wholesaled it for somewhere in like the 175 to 180 range. It would have probably cost me 10,000 to clean it out though. So I maybe would have made a 10 or $15,000 wholesale fee as another exit option. But yeah, that's kind of what we were looking at.
Now let me ask, Dave, what if you called your partner up and he said, look, man, I got a handful of flips going on, so I would love to partner, but I can't. And would you still took this on, by yourself, or would you say, you know what, I really don't want to be exposed to too much risk and then be forced to, I guess, go to the wholesale route on it? What would you have done?
Yeah, I think I remember thinking about that. I think I would have still taken it down myself. And I probably wouldn't been like 100% sure that I was going to do a huge rehab on it, but I might have like cleaned it out and then took another look at it and said, hey, can I just throw this up as a wholesale as it is right now, make a quick couple bucks and be done? So that was probably going to be more of like a 50-50 type decision for me at that point.
Gotcha. Well, hey, awesome flip. That right there, man, is yeah. That was true HGTV style right
Yeah.
there.
It was a fun one. Yeah, we had a lot of fun with it, and yeah, I'm glad it can help you guys see what's possible out there. So
Absolutely. So are you hosting something next? Are you going to host next month?
yeah, my assistant's working on setting all those up. I don't know the dates yet. I think we're trying to shoot for like the third Wednesday of the month.
Okay.
So hopefully that'll come out soon.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Would you anticipate that being Zoom again, or is it
Yeah.
going to be in person, or?
I kind of like the Zoom because I can be home and don't have to drive and be away from my family and can walk right upstairs. And so I kind of like Zoom now. So I'm kind of used to it.
That was cool. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we're gonna do Zoom. I think at least.
Admittingly, I do too.
Yeah.
Yeah, me
Zoom
too.
has been really nice.
Yeah. This
Yeah.
is perfect, Key. This is perfect, Dave.
Cool, man. Well, yeah. Well, thank you guys for coming. I really appreciate the your guys' participation and hope you got something out of it. And hope to have you back next month.
Thank you. Nice meeting you all.
Absolutely. Nice meeting
Thanks,
everybody.
guys. Good night.
Next month.